Solving a two-step equation. Um, what it means is this: we need to isolate the variable by doing two steps. So let me start by writing the steps. Step number one, we either gonna be adding or subtracting, and then step number two, we're gonna be either multiplying or dividing. Okay, and we always gonna do the opposite. Now, in these kind of problems, you also gonna be multiplying or dividing the signs. And this is what we're gonna do to know if the answer will be positive or negative by either multiplying the signs or dividing the signs. Okay. Now let's start with step one. You always gonna do the opposite. In this case, we're adding 6, and the opposite of adding is gonna be subtracting. So I'm gonna be subtracting 6. Whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you do it to the other side, subtracting 6. Adding positive and negative 6, that is going to be 0. And that's how we get 3 times y. All of this will be equal. And can you see that they have the same sign? Add it up and keep the sign. That is step one. We subtract. Step number two, we always going to do the opposite. I know many times people says 3y in reality means 3 times y. The opposite of multiplying is going to be dividing. So that means I'm going to be dividing this by 3. You see this line? It means that I'm dividing. Whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you do it to the other side, divide by 3. 3 divided by 3, you get 1. 1 times y, you get y. On the other side, now you're dividing. You divide a negative by a positive. That's when we're gonna be using this triangle, and we're just gonna cover the two signs that we have in that division. So that means if we are dividing a negative by a positive, it tells you that the answer should be negative. And now 12 divided by 3, the answer should be 4. So the answer y equals to 4. Okay, remember, we always gonna do the opposite and we divide. Okay, that was step number 2. Next, for this one, we're gonna do exactly the same thing. We're gonna do the opposite of subtracting, right? That is step 1. The opposite of subtracting is gonna be adding. So adding 4 to get rid of it. Adding 4. Okay, remember, the idea is to have y by itself. Okay, on this case, x, I have to solve for x by getting rid of negative 4 and get rid of this negative 2. Anyway, so what we're gonna do now is, if we add it, that is gonna be 0. Then you get negative 2x equals, can you see that they have different sign? Subtract, give the sign of the biggest number, the answer should be positive 2. And now, step 1, we got rid of this 4 by adding. Step number 2, we have multiplication between these two numbers. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by negative 2. On the other side, I'm going to do the same thing, divide by negative 2. And now, we're going to be dividing negative divided by a negative. I'm going to cover the two signs that I have in that division. That tells me that the answer should be positive. And 2 divided by 2, you get 1. 1 times x, so you get x equals. On the other side, we are dividing a positive by a negative. If you don't see the sign, it means that number 2 is positive. So divide positive by a negative. So that tells you that the answer is going to be negative 1. Okay, so x equals negative 1. Next, I need to isolate the variable b. So I have to get rid of these 2 and this -3. If I follow the steps, step number 1, I'm gonna do the opposite of adding, which is subtracting. So because I'm adding 2, to get rid of it, I'm gonna be subtracting 2, subtracting 2. Now, positive and -2, this is gonna cancel. You're gonna get 0. That's how you get D divided by -3. That's what this means. You are dividing. On the other side, can you see that both numbers are negative? When they have the same sign, add it up and keep the sign. Okay. Step 1, we subtract. Step number 2, we're gonna do the opposite of dividing. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna multiply by -3. Parenthesis means that you are multiplying. So multiply by -3. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is divide the two signs. Negative divided by a negative. Okay, negative divided by a negative, it tells you the answer should be positive. 3 divided by 3, you get 1. 1 times d, you get d equals. On the other side, now, instead of dividing, now we're going to be multiplying. And you multiply negative times a negative, it tells you the answer should be positive. And now multiplied. 6 times 3, the answer should be positive 18, and that's the answer. On this case, D equals positive 18, okay? And the next one, this one doesn't look like it's gonna be a 12-step equation, but it is because you're never gonna leave K saying the answer is negative K, whatever the number should be on the other side. Let me explain how that is gonna work, okay? Remember, this is gonna be a 2-step equation. So step 1, you always gonna do the opposite. The opposite of adding is gonna be subtracting, right? So you're gonna be subtracting 1, okay? Whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you do it to the other side. Adding positive and -1, that will be 0. That's how you end up with negative K equals. On this one, can you see that they have the same sign? Add it up and keep the sign. So the answer should be -6. And this is what I mean. You're never going to leave an answer and say negative K equals -6. That's not how it works. The variable is going to be always positive. So in other words, I have to change the sign by either dividing by -1 or multiply by -1. On this case, I'm going to be multiplying. It's up to you. You're going to get the same thing. Negative times a negative. You can see it right here where we have multiplication and it's already set up. The answer should be positive. And then on the other side is the same thing, right? Negative times a negative. The answer should be positive 6. And now we say the answer is going to be K equals 6. And just try to remember, don't leave the variable negative and say that will be the answer. You always have to change the sign, and you're going to change it by multiplying or dividing by -1. It's up to you. You get the same answer, okay? Then the next one, step 1, I'm going to do the opposite of subtracting. The opposite of subtracting is going to be adding. So that is step 1. So I'm going to be adding 2, adding 2. Adding positive and -2, that will be 0. That's how you're going to get A divided by 2. On the other side, can you see that they have different sign? Subtract. Keep the sign of the biggest number. That's how you're going to get -3. And then the next one, A is divided by 2. So because you are dividing, the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So parentheses means that you're multiplying by 2. Whatever you do to one side, you do it to the other side, right? Multiply by 2. Now 2 divided by 2, you get 1. 1 times a, you're going to get a equals. On the other side, multiply the two signs, negative times a positive. You cover the two signs that you have in that multiplication. It tells you the answer should be negative. And now multiply the two numbers, 3 times 2. The answer should be 6. Now we say a equals negative 6, and that's how we get the answer.